live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening and welcome to the National News broadcast, bringing to you live from the National News Studios here at Rupavahini. We are ready to bring you the top stories here at home and around the world. I'm Charita Minipurarachi.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines. Draft bill to abolish the pension of parliamentarians passed with a majority of 152 votes. IMF Managing Director who met the President witnessed herself the damage caused to Udapalata Mawatura village by Cyclone Ditwa. An agreement on economic cooperation between Sri Lanka and Japan. President left for India to attend the AI Impact Summit on the invitation of Indian Prime Minister. No issue regarding national security, emphasizes the Minister of Public Security. Sri Lanka too in the Global Convention on Child Protection Reforms. Yativaramapiya Nivahana National Program for parents who offered children to the Sasana from this year. New Prime Minister of Bangladesh assumes duty. Sri Lanka enters the T20 Super 8 round beating Australia.
On to those and other stories in detail now, and starting off with the top story. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Secretary of the United Kingdom David Lammy arrived in the island for an official visit today.
He met President Anurakkumara Dissanayake this afternoon.
The paramount aim of this visit is to further strengthen bilateral relations between the two states. In addition, he will monitor the humanitarian activities to provide relief for the affected people by the Ditwa cyclone last year. Joining a special summit at the UN office in Colombo today, Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy further confirmed the long-term bilateral relations established between Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom. At this occasion, he signed the Global Charter on the reforms of childcare with the representatives of Sri Lankan government. Accordingly, Sri Lanka became the 35th country that signed the charter. This would be a significant milestone in the child welfare sector in Sri Lanka. The aim of the signing of this charter is to direct needy children to daily care centered with family instead of keeping them institutionalized. Addressing the gathering, David Lammy commended the National Action Plan for Childcare passed recently in Sri Lanka. He further said that these reforms will be a significant investment for the future human resources in the country. He stressed that no child should be cornered due to their family background or poverty within the society. No child should be separated from the family due to economic difficulties or disability. The Deputy Prime Minister further said that the United Kingdom is always committed to extend the support needed to Sri Lanka in this transformation move. UK Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy met President Anurakkumara Dissanayake at the President's office, and they held a lengthy discussion on bilateral relations and economic cooperation. The President commended the United Kingdom for its support extended in the process of debt restructuring with the International Monetary Fund. Especially, the President thanked the UK government for its decision taken to lift the tariffs imposed on Sri Lankan apparel exports. The UK Deputy Prime Minister commended Sri Lanka's recent economic progress and the new methodology implemented on collecting state revenue. He said that the United Kingdom is ready to grant required support for the Sri Lanka's green power transition program. He also expressed his regret for the disaster occurred due to Cyclone Ditwa and stressed that confidence on Sri Lanka's recovering from this disaster situation
Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund says that an excellent opportunity has dawned for Sri Lanka to achieve a speedy development and a sustainable economic progress through the dedication for anti-corruption reforms and good governance of the present government. Kristalina Georgieva, who arrived in the island on a 3-day official visit, expressed these views when she met President Anurakkumara Dissanayake in the morning today. The meeting took place at the President's office and extensive discussions were held regarding the next stage of the program with the International Monetary Fund, normalizing the economic and Sri Lanka, the post-disaster relief program. In a time Sri Lanka economy is returning to normalcy, Kristalina Georgieva, expressing her grief regarding the severe natural disaster faced by Sri Lanka, offered assistance to the reconstruction program of the country. She also appreciated the immediate steps taken by the government to provide relief to the affected people and also revealed that the IMF had provided emergency financial aid of more than $200 million. Further attention was paid regarding further assistance to be provided to Sri Lanka for the program to create macroeconomic and financial stability in the country. President Anurukumar Dissanayake, appreciating the continuous assistance provided to Sri Lanka by the IMF in the face of extreme economic difficulties, added that Sri Lanka could face a huge disaster situation like Cyclone Ditwa due to the economic stability. Minister Dr. Anil Janta Fernando, Central Bank Governor Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe and a number of officials joined the occasion. Kristalina Georgieva, the Managing Director of the International Monetary Fund, who is now in the island, also visited today the landslide-affected Udapalata Mavatura village during the Cyclone Ditwa for an inspection tour. After exchanging waves with the victims, she conveyed her condolences to them. A large number of houses were damaged due to landslides after Cyclone Ditwa in Mavatura area. 28 persons died and another 6 were missing during the disaster. Kristalina Georgieva expressed her satisfaction regarding the manner in which the government implemented the relief program effectively during a calamity of this nature. She also appreciated the courage, dedication and unity showed by the people. Addressing the children of affected families, she also stated that a huge contribution will be given for the future of the children of this area and the future progress of the country, and added that she is confident that the government will act with dedication to empower the child generation in order to make the objective a success. And meanwhile, the draft bill to abolish the pension of the parliamentarians were passed with a majority of 152 votes in the parliament today. And the pension bill of parliament, both number 1977, number 1 of 1977 rather, and the pension parliamentarians will be abolished through this.
පාර්ලිමේන්තු විශ්‍රාම වැටුප් ඉවත් කිරීමේ පනත් කෙටුම්පත දෙවෙනිවර කියවීම සම්මත කිරීමට පක්ෂව ඡන්ද 154ක්ද විරුද්ධව ඡන්ද 2ක්ද ලැබී ඇත. ඡන්දය දීමෙන් වැළකී සිටි සංඛ්‍යාව බිඳුවකි. ඒ අනුව පාර්ලිමේන්තු විශ්‍රාම වැටුප් ඉවත් කිරීමේ පනත් කෙටුම්පත දෙවෙනිවර කියවීම වැඩි ඡන්ද 152කින් සම්මත වූ බව මෙම සභාවට දන්වනු කැමැත්තෙමි.
Minister Vijitha Herath says that the draft bill to abolish the pension of parliamentarians has been presented to fulfill practically the promise given to change the political culture of the country. The minister made these observations during the cabinet media briefing held today. Minister Vijitha Herath said that the government had promised the people it would change the political culture of the country and that a key component of this reform was the abolition of members of parliament pensions. He emphasized that the significance of abolishing these pensions was not primarily about the financial savings but about initiating a broader cultural transformation. He explained that the objective was to foster a culture in which serving as a member of parliament is regarded as a public service carried out for the benefit of the people rather than as a means of earning money or securing financial privileges. In that spirit, the relevant legislation had been introduced. He clarified that the intentions were not to take revenge on anyone or to cluster or rather cause hardship to former members by cancelling their pensions, noting that the abolition would also apply to current members, including themselves. The minister added that the government expects the assistance of the people of this country to contain the underworld and drug peddling, for which the government has taken strong steps. Minister Vijitha Herath stressed that organized criminal networks linked to drug trafficking had grown stronger due to political protection in the past. As a new government, a series of steps had been implemented to dismantle these networks, including the launch of a national anti-drug program. Under this initiative, several large-scale drug traffickers operating both domestically and internationally had been arrested arrested in recent months. He stressed that the government was committed to taking strong action against the underworld and drug trafficking, but underscored that public cooperation was crucial. He expressed deep concern over recent incidents, noting that there had been multiple such occurrences and that they must be brought to an end. He added that the underworld could only be effectively suppressed with the necessary support from the people. He therefore appealed to all citizens not to assist the drug trade or underworld activities in any manner, whether directly or indirectly. Minister Vijitha Herath mentioned that around 3 million tourists are also expected during this year. Minister Vijitha Herath pointed out that last year recorded 2.362 million tourist arrivals. Despite a temporary decline in arrivals in December due to the cyclone Ditwa situation, he said that December had ultimately become the month with the highest number of tourist arrivals in the country's history. He further noted that tourist arrivals continue to remain strong, highlighting that February 12th marked the highest single-day arrival figure in Sri Lanka's history, with over 12,760 tourists entering the country. He reaffirmed that the government's target for the year was 3 million tourist arrivals.
And meanwhile, a discussion was held today between President Anura Kumar Dissanayake and a high-level delegation of Japan regarding the establishment of the proposed Sri Lanka-Japan Export Industrial Corridor. The discussions was held at the President's office and Deputy Minister of Economic, Trade and International Affairs of the Industrial Sector of Japan, Takehiko Matsuo, Japanese Ambassador in Sri Lanka, Kyo Izumata, and a high-level delegation participated in the discussions. The delegation arrived in the island as a result of the discussions held during the state visit of Japan by President Anura Kumar Dissanayake last September. The objective is to attract investments to Sri Lanka for production targeting export market by the proposed Sri Lanka-Japan Export Industrial Corridor. The Japan delegation stated the enthusiasm in the business community of Japan and the government towards Sri Lanka regarding investments is further strengthened after a period of a decade with the state visit of Japan by President Anura Kumar Dissanayake. Charting a new path for economic relations between Sri Lanka and Japan, the Sri Lanka-Japan Intergovernmental Economic Policy Dialogue was successfully held yesterday at the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development Auditorium. A key highlight of the program was the signing of the exchange of a memorandum of cooperation between relevant ministries of the two countries, formalizing their collaboration on economic policy dialogue. On behalf of the government of Sri Lanka, the agreement was signed by K.A. Vimalayendraja, Secretary to the Ministry of Trade, Commerce, Food Security and Cooperative Development, and Darshan Emperera, Acting Additional Secretary of Bilateral Economic Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The agreement was signed by Matsuo Takehiko, the Vice Minister of International Affairs of the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, and Moritani Masakatsu, Director of the Southwest Asia Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, on behalf of the Government of Japan. The representatives of both the countries expressed confidence that this memorandum of understanding and the policy dialogue would usher Sri Lanka's Japan economic cooperation and their long-standing friendship into a new era.
President Anura Kumar Dissanayake left for India to take part in the AI Impact Summit 2026 at the special invitation of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The summit will be held in New Delhi with the aim of using artificial intelligence in a responsible manner for the benefit of humanity. The President will address the summit on the 19th of this month. The 5-day summit will be attended by heads of states from 20 countries along with representatives from more than 45 nations. Extensive discussions are expected on the future trajectory of artificial intelligence and its potential role in addressing global challenges. During his visit to India, the President is also expected to hold bilateral discussions with Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other world leaders.
And meanwhile, GCE O-Level examination commenced today. It will conclude on the 26th of this month. The examination has been conducted at 3,545 centres island-wide. 382,249 school candidates and 69,214 private candidates sit for the examination. According to the examination department, 531 coordinating centres have been established island-wide. Students appeared for the exam with much enthusiasm since this morning.
තියෙනවා බලමු අද විභාගයට මුහුණ දීලා. ලොකු උත්සාහයක් දරනවා ඉස්කෝලේ වෙනුවෙනුත් රිසල්ට් එක හොඳට අරගෙන උපරිම සාධාරණයක් කරන්න.
6 students of Open Prison Camp Training School and Watreka in Paduka are also eligible to sit for the exam this year. Accordingly, they sat for the exam at the Sunitha School Examination Centre in Watreka, allocated for young inmates.
Minister Ananda Vijaypala says that there is no issue regarding the professional safety of attorneys at law or the national security of the country. He expressed these views in reply to a query raised in the Parliament today regarding the assassination of a lawyer and his wife recently. Leader of the opposition, Sajid Premadasa, questioned whether the government acknowledged that a serious national security issue had arisen following the shooting and killing of a lawyer and his wife. He asked what the government's official stance was on this matter. Responding to the question, Minister Ananda Vijaypala expressed his deepest condolences to the relatives of the deceased lawyer and his wife. He stated that the shooting had not taken place in a high-security zone and emphasized that the incident was isolated, posing no threat to national security. The minister said that ensuring the safety of the legal community and all citizens was a responsibility of the government and it remained committed to that duty. He further revealed that prior to his death, the lawyer had been under a police investigation and that a statement had been recorded from him. Apart from that, no other statements had been issued regarding the deceased. He added that a comprehensive investigation was currently underway. The 12 police teams deployed and several arrests had already been made and authorities had gathered information regarding possible assistance provided to those involved. The government, he said, was working to bring the perpetrators to justice with a short period. The minister also noted that steps would be taken to ensure the safety of lawyers and investigating officers after obtaining threat assessment reports from intelligence services. Sri Lanka qualified for the Super 8 round of the T20 World Cup cricket tournament yesterday by defeating Australia by 8 wickets.
The match, which was played during several records, were renewed while at Parliamentary International Cricket Stadium.
A huge crowd attended Parliamentary International Cricket Stadium to watch the match. Sri Lankan captain Dasun Shanaka, after winning the toss, invited Australia to bat first. Accordingly, Mitchell Marsh and Travis Head opened the innings for Australia, adding a partnership of 104 runs for the first wicket. Travis Head scored 56 while Mitchell Marsh scored 54 runs. Australia managed to post a total of 110 during the first 10 overs, and during the following 10 overs, Sri Lankan bowlers put the Aussie batsmen under pressure. Josh Inglis added 27 runs while Glenn Maxwell contributed with 22 runs. Maxwell was out to an excellent catch taken by Pathum Nishankar.
Got it! What a catch! Outstanding! What a catch! That's an unbelievable catch.
Sri Lankan fielding was at a very high standard yesterday. During the second 10 overs, Australia scored 71 runs and Sri Lanka managed to claim 8 wickets as well. Australia posted a total of 181 runs all out in their 20 overs. In bowling for Sri Lanka, Dushan Hemantha claimed 3 wickets for 37 runs.
There's that slower ball, another dollop. He'll nudge it. Completed one, won't complete the second, might as well try. In case they...
With a stiff target of 182 runs for the victory, Pathum Nishankar and Kusal Janit Pereira opened the innings. Kusal Pereira was out for 1 run, while Kusal Mendis and Pathum Nishankar added a 97-run partnership for the second wicket.
Ellis gets sent! That's a fine.
Kusal Mendes scored the 20th half-century of his T20 international career yesterday. Meanwhile, this has been the second consecutive half-century scored during this year's T20 World Cup cricket tournament. Kusal Mendes was the fifth player in world cricket to claim that position and the second Sri Lankan batsman also.
Side, third consecutive in T20 World Cups. It's a 20th.
Kusal Mendes was out for 51 runs and Pathum Nishankar, playing a pivotal innings, scored the first century of this year's tournament. This has been the second century scored by a Sri Lankan batsman in a T20 cricket tournament and the first by a player against Australia. At the same time, Pathum Nishankar became the first batsman to score twin centuries in a T20 match for Sri Lanka. He scored his unbeaten 100 runs in 52 balls, which included 10 boundaries and 5 sixes. Pawan Ratnayake was unbeaten on 28 runs in 15 balls. Sri Lanka sealed the victory by scoring 184 runs, losing 2 wickets in 18 overs. This has also been recorded as the first occasion where Sri Lanka chased the highest total in a T20 match in Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, this has also been the second highest chasing in a T20 World Cup cricket tournament in this country. It has also been entered to the record books as the third highest chasing by Sri Lanka in a World Cup tournament. Pathum Nishankar was declared the man of the match.
That'll do the job and a massive on Australia on the back of Pathum Nishankar's brilliant 100. Sri Lanka, they're Australia, they are on the ropes.
අවුරුදු ගානකින් හොඳ ආස්වාදයක් දුන්න අපේ ප්‍රේක්ෂකයන්ට නියමයි. ශ්‍රී ලංකා! කවුරු ගෝල කිව්වා? 26 කප් එක අපිට!
Pathum Nishankar said he was very happy as he had a big goal of scoring a century in a World Cup and was pleased that he was able to achieve it. He added that when such a large crowd comes to support them, it gives the team great energy. He also requested the fans to continue supporting them in the same way in future matches and expressed his gratitude to everyone who came. Former international cricketers of Sri Lanka congratulated on Sri Lanka's victory through the social media.
Stay tuned with more local stories after this break.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Welcome back, and you're joining with Rupavahini English News. The Deputy Minister of Mass Media, Dr. Kaushalya Aruratna, says the government has implemented a number of programs for the safety of journalists.
She made these remarks in response to a query raised in the Parliament. Deputy Minister Dr. Kaushalya Aruratna stated that the government continues to receive numerous complaints from media professionals and journalists regarding private media institutions. She acknowledged that some institutions have been closed down and that many journalists have raised concerns about not receiving social security benefits such as EPF and ETF while working on a long-term service basis. She also noted complaints about unpaid salaries for services already rendered. The Deputy Minister explained that there is very limited intervention. The Ministry of Mass media can make regarding salary or employment-related matters, as private media institutions operate under the Companies Act and are governed by existing labour laws. However, she pointed out that in recognition of the concerns raised by media personnel, the Director General of Government Information, HSKJ Bandara, issued a letter on the 7th of January to all private media institutions. The letter, she said, requested that journalists employed or providing services to those institutions be paid properly. On behalf of the government, the minister called on the owners of private media institutions to value the service provided by journalists, safeguard the dignity of the profession, and ensure that payments are made in a proper manner. The Deputy Minister further revealed that the draft bill for the Chartered Institute for Media Professionals has now received approval from the Attorney General's Department, expressing hope that it would help create an environment in which journalists can work with dignity as recognized professionals.
Steps have been taken to accelerate the communication to the Village National Project. Minister Vijay Herath shared these details during the press briefing held today at the Department of Government Information to announce the cabinet decisions.
Telecommunications Regulatory Commission has issued new guidelines to accelerate the communication to the Village National Project, ensuring its benefits to reach the public in relevant areas more quickly and effectively. Under these guidelines, the service provider constructing a communication tower will be reimbursed either a maximum of 35 million rupees per tower or 75% of the actual cost incurred for the construction and related equipment, whichever is lower. President Anurukumar Dissanayake, in his capacity as the Minister of Digital Economy, briefed the Cabinet on this matter, and the Cabinet of Ministers granted its approval. The BIMSTEC Secretariat, through the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, has officially requested Sri Lanka to host the inaugural meeting of the BIMSTEC Expert Committee on the Public Finance and Monetary Policy. Accordingly, Cabinet approval was granted to hold the inaugural meeting in Sri Lanka this year. This proposal was submitted by President Anurukumar Dissanayake. Plans have been finalized to implement the Yativara Mapiya Nivahana national program. The objective of this initiative is to provide housing for economically disadvantaged parents who have offered their children to the Sasana and do not own a home. In its initial phase, the project aims to construct 1,000 houses this year, covering every district in the island. This is an affiliate program of the Place of Your Own, A Beautiful Life national initiative. The Cabinet approved this joint proposal submitted by Ministers Dr. Hinidum Sunil Senevi and Dr. H.M. Susil Ranasinghe. 6 housing complexes are being constructed under the second phase of the urban regeneration project, aimed at meeting housing needs for communities living in undeserved settlements in Colombo. These complexes are centered in the areas of Kalabage Mawatha, Stadium Gama, Ferguson, Appalwatta, Madampiti and Obesekarapura, comprising a total of 4,074 housing units. The Cabinet approved the proposal presented by Minister Bimal Ratnayaka regarding allocation of these units to eligible beneficiaries and related follow-up actions. The Cabinet of Ministers also approved the proposal presented by Minister Professor Ubali Pannilage to instruct the legal draftsman to draft a bill to legally empower the Praja Shakti National Movement for poverty alleviation.
Qatar Charity Sri Lanka, through their relief project, grants a donation to Sri Lanka for those affected by floods. The donation has been made in support of national disaster preparedness and search and rescue operations.
Qatar Charity Sri Lanka works to provide aid in the development and humanitarian fields and adopts an integrated and multi-sectoral approach that pays attention to the complex and diverse nature of development and humanitarian sectors. In line with its initiative to assist communities affected by the recent floods caused by Ditwa, Qatar Charity has extended their support to strengthen the DMC's operational capacity, particularly in search and rescue operations during emergencies. Accordingly, they have provided 22 units of 5 kW generators, 22 units of 25 horsepower outboard motors, 22 units of 2-inch 2 horsepower submersible water pumps and 22 units of flexible hoses and accessories. These items are valued at nearly 24 million rupees.
On behalf of the people of Sri Lanka, we would like to once again thank the people of Qatar and the government of Qatar and also the Qatar Charity Organization for this generous donation which came in the hour of need to the country. As we all aware, the Ditwa cyclone created a big disaster in the country. That kind of a large disaster we faced after about 80 years ago. We have this kind of experience. So therefore, the 20 out of 25 districts, 22 districts are badly affected. So these items will of course will go to the needy people.
On the eve of the forthcoming Holy Ramazan, Saudi Arabian government has officially donated 50 metric tons of dates to the Sri Lankan government yesterday. This donation has been granted through King Salman's Humanitarian Relief Centre, and certain events were held at the Saudi Arabian Embassy in Colombo. In the event held under the leadership of Saudi Arabian Ambassador to Sri Lanka Khalid bin Hamud Al Qahtani, Deputy Minister of Religious and Cultural Affairs Munir Mulaffar participated as a chief guest. Sri Lankan Deputy Minister of External Affairs Arun Hemachandra, Deputy Speaker Rizvi Sali, Director of Muslim Religious and Cultural Department MSM Nawaz, representatives of Al Salon Ayatul Ulama and representatives of Islamic organizations were also present on this occasion.
And meanwhile, the Colombo Stock Exchange ended today trading slightly lower, and the all-share price index closed at 23,882.82 after dropping by 17.29 points, which represents a 0.07% decrease. The S&P SL20 index closed at 6,708.71, down by 1.62 points and 0.02%. Total market capitalization at the close of trading stood at 8.476 trillion rupees. Market turnover for the day amounted to 4.25 billion rupees with 160.84 million shares traded. Moving to the weather update, showery conditions are expected to intensify across several parts of the country over the next few days, with heavy rainfall forecast for the northern, north central, over and eastern provinces. The Department of Meteorology said showers will occur at times in these provinces as well as in Hambantota district, while heavy rains exceeding 100 millimeters are likely at some locations in the eastern, over and north central provinces and in the Bantale and Nuwara Elia districts.
In the meantime, showers or thunder showers are also expected at several places elsewhere after 1 p.m. with misty conditions forecast in the early morning hours in the central and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Galle and Mathura districts. Authorities have urged the public to take adequate precautions to minimize damage caused by temporary localized strong winds and lightning during thunder showers. Well, that's it on local stories. We'll be back with news overseas.
Welcome back with international stories, and in a major political shift in South Asia, Bangladesh Nationalist Party leader Tariq Rahman has been sworn in as Bangladesh's new Prime Minister following a landslide parliamentary election victory, and the oath-taking ceremony held in Dhaka today marks the BNP's return to power after nearly 2 decades and also comes after a turbulent transitional period in the country's politics.
Bangladesh Nationalist Party leader Tariq Rahman was sworn in as Prime Minister at a ceremony held at the South Plaza of the Jatiya Sangsad Bhavan in Dhaka. The oath was administered by President Mohammed Shahabuddin in the presence of senior political leaders, diplomats, civil and military officials and representatives from several countries including China, India and Pakistan. Breaking with tradition, the ceremony took place outdoors at the Parliament complex rather than the presidential residence Bangabhavan. The Islamist party Jamaat-e-Islami, contesting its first election since a 2013 ban, was lifted 168 seats and will sit in opposition along with its allies, including the National Citizen Party. The Awami League, led by former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, did not contest the election after its registration was revoked by the Election Commission.
And with that, we conclude tonight news, which is tomorrow at the very same time. And I'm Charita, signing with Sharifa. Stay safe and good night.
Good night.